Welcome back, everyone. We've had a very exciting week with some big announcements, especially in the WNBL free agency period. And I'm super stoked today to have one of the biggest signings of this week join me. She has been a part of the Opal squad since 2020. She's been drafted to the WNBA and she has played in the WNBL as well as overseas. And might I add, she's done all this at the age of only 23. So now I would like to introduce my very special guest, Shyla Heal.
Thanks for having me back and that good announcement. I'm here for it.
Oh, yeah, right. Shy. Literally, I think last time I saw you like in the flesh, I think we were at an Opals camp, played against Japan in like regional somewhere, and we were rooming together. And this is when I found out about your love for ice cream because I think we got a big old order of Cold Rock. And so I'm so happy just to be seeing you again.
Yeah, that feels like so long ago now. But yeah, when you get to know me, I'm a big youth, so
So we have to start off with obviously the breaking news this week that you just signed back in the WNBL with Geelong United. I'm going to say that probably wasn't on anyone's bingo cards thinking that Shyla was going to come back to the WNBL. So you last played in the WNBL in the 2022-23 season where you won the championship with Townsville. What was the decision that made you decide to come back to Australia?
honestly, it was kind of tough because I have really established myself in Europe now, and I've played pretty well the last 2 years. So I had a lot of really good offers to go back this year, but like you said, I'm only 23, so I feel like coming back to Australia is the best thing right now for my career, and I know Europe's always going to the offers are going to keep coming, but I had a few chats with Chris and the ownership of Geelong, and they really sold me on their vision of what they want to do this year. I was sold really, and it's just great to be back in Australia and be close to my family as well.
And you've played for a few teams like Perth, Bendigo, Townsville, and Sydney, but might I add, you started your pro career at only 14 years of age, which is absolutely insane. You spoke about your conversations with Chris about, signing with Geelong. I guess what's like one major thing that was like, okay, I know Geelong is the club for me because I'm sure most clubs would have been happy to have Shyla as their point guard.
Um, Probably just we're gonna have really good people in our club. Like it starts from the ownership, and I know they're great people, but we're also getting great people in our team. I think also another factor is we're gonna have a lot of talent, and we're gonna have a chance to win a championship. And I'm a competitor. I love to win, and that really sold me. The fact that I'm gonna have fun with good people, but we're also gonna have a chance to.
And I think that's super important. Like we've all been a part of teams that maybe like not everyone got along or the culture wasn't exactly what you thought. And it does make such a big difference when you're in an environment where one, you feel safe to be your like authentic self. Two, to get the best out of each other, you all have each other's back. So I think that's super great that you feel like that's what you're going to get at Geelong. And Geelong is still new. It's only going to be their second year. Obviously, you are a big name. Are you excited to help grow and build Geelong United?
Definitely. I mean, that's another factor. My dad played in Geelong and he had nothing but good things to say. But the fact that it's a fresh new club in Australia, I love. Like, we get to create the DNA for this club. And I went to one of the NBL games in Geelong a couple days ago, and you just see so many kids running around and watching it. And to me, that's so exciting because, it gives me a chance to help build women's basketball in Geelong in the outer regions. And yeah, I think it's just going to be so exciting to give these young kids role models and motivation to stay.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And what's something that you think that you personally can add to this Geelong team with obviously all the experience you've gotten under your belt? Like you said, really making a name for yourself in Europe. Like, what do you expect yourself to bring this season?
Yeah, well, like you said, I haven't been here for 2 years, and I've grown as a player in Europe. Like it's really tough over there. They bring in experience, but in the fact that I want to get my teammates involved. I want to also score, but I want to look to get my teammates involved and really just play a great brand of team basketball, I would say. So bringing a lot of energy and just really being that point guard that distributes, but also gets to the basket myself.
And I'm sure we'll probably be seeing some dirty step backs to the left from the 3-point line. It's like one of my favourite Shyla Heal moves. So I can't wait to see that. Fans, get ready. Geelong's going to pop off. But what goals do you have for yourself and the team? You obviously spoke of you're here to win a championship, but yeah, yourself personally and the team, what are some of your goals for this WNBL season?
Honestly, I'm just excited to show everyone how much I've grown. Everyone hasn't seen me play in a few years now, so I'm really excited to, make a mark for myself in the WNBL and really show that I am one of the best in Australia. So my goals probably, just to show that, but main goals to win a championship.
And we spoke about obviously the Geelong ownership and how that was a big thing for, you going to Geelong and coming back home. But obviously there's been a big change in the whole WNBL as itself with the new ownership. What changes, I guess, are you looking forward to the most with now, you know, the NBL as well as the Wallamai group coming on board and obviously, hopefully, media and marketing, that's a big one for us. But yeah, what are you looking forward to with this new change?
Honestly, I think I just can't wait for the WNBL to grow in terms of how they the NBL one, social media wise, they've just got so much exposure. So I can't wait for the WNBL to get the exposure that we deserve. All of us women train and play so hard and we deserve that. So I really just can't wait to watch the WNBL grow and get the cover. That's what I'm excited for this season.
Yeah, and I love that. And you also spoke about on it earlier about like being role models. And I think for me, like you said, we work so hard on the court as athletes. So it's a role model in the terms of, hey, young girls, you can actually play basketball as a career. You can do this as a full-time job as well as get to know the people behind, I guess, the jersey. And the more, I guess, the fans get to know Shyla Heal, the person, is like they want to come even more because they know you, they want you to win, they want to see you after the games. And I think that's something that I'm really looking forward to seeing in this growth. But earlier this year as well, you were named in the Australian Opal squad. What are you aiming for this year with the national team?
Honestly, my goals have kind of changed in terms of like when I was a young girl, there was always WNBA and Opals. I've been in the squad for a few years now, so if it happens, awesome. If not, I'm not too stressed about it. Like my goal is just to financially get ahead and enjoy playing basketball. That's why I play, and if you don't enjoy it, there's no point in playing. So I just want to be happy and make good money and yeah, do what I love. That's really my goals now. It's kind of changed.
And I quite like this. I've spoken with a couple of our female athletes, our basketballers, over the months now, and I just think it's so important to talk about the mindset. And like that's wise words from a 23-year-old kid, but you've gone through the highs and lows and the roller coaster. Definitely, I know you have, and I really love that you've come out with that mindset. And yeah, I think for young girls everywhere, it's always go back to why you started playing basketball because it was fun. And if it's not fun and you're not enjoying it, like you're not going to get the best out of yourself. Um, but like we said, you've been part of the national squad for quite some time and a lot of change has now happened with like the next generation coming through. I guess, are you excited about that change? And I guess now it's almost a time where it's, people your age, it's now you paving the way.
Yeah, it's actually crazy because I I've been the only kind of young one staying with the older girls this whole time. So it's kind of cool seeing everyone my age kind of coming back in that I haven't seen in a few years. And yeah, it's really cool that we get to kind of pave this next wave for this next generation. And just nice to have some friends my age back, to be honest, all reunited.
And last thing on the national team is just like, what does it mean for when you put on the green and gold? Whether that was the first time you ever did it to just recently, like, what does that mean to you?
It does mean a lot. It goes deeper for me because my dad played for Australia.
Mhm.
I'm proud of everything he's done, and I just want to make him proud as well. So, being an Australian does mean a lot, and representing everyone in the country. So it's always a privilege putting on the singlet and playing your heart out. Um, but yeah, hopefully, get to do it again, whether it's near or far. We'll see.
Yeah, no, I'm sure we will be seeing that for sure. Um, okay, so now I want to go sort of back to like before all this happened and you were announced that you were going to Geelong. You had just come back from playing overseas in Turkey, where you'd been playing again some great bloody basketball. So, and in your 22 games, you average almost 18 points, 4 assists, and 3 rebounds, and like that's so impressive as a young guard. And as you said, Europe ain't easy, that is for sure, and Turkey's a great league. How did you find your experience in Turkey in the Super League, and was it different to the other countries and the leagues of like Poland, Israel, and France that you had also played in?
I loved Turkey. It was definitely a grind. Training twice a day and being away from family, not a lot of English speaking within the team and the coaches, but I loved it. I mean, Turkey is one of the best leagues, if the best league in Europe, just under and every week we were playing two, three, four WNBA players. So every week was hard for us, and I think that's the thing that I loved. Just getting a challenge game each week and going up against the best. And I really proved that I do belong in Europe in the biggest stages, and like I said, I really established myself over there. So it was really fun. I enjoyed it, getting to know new people. But yeah, obviously back. It's nice hearing English though.
And I guess a part of this whole journey and where you got to where you are today, so like this included, for people who don't know, like 4 years ago, you were in the 2021 draft for where you were drafted to the Chicago Sky in the WNBA as the eighth pick in the first round. And this was such amazing achievement. And I actually remember watching this like on the news, on social media. And this was just so big for Aussie women's basketball because I feel like just nothing had sort of been on this stage, I guess, promoted in a way of like, we should be speaking about this and showing up because that's what we do for the men or for other women's sports. And I feel like this exposure just really helped in general basketball fans and players realize that this can be a reality. Can you like talk me through what it meant to you, just like going through that and almost knowing, I guess maybe you were the first one to like really put it on a stage and like it be seen?
Yeah. It was a really unique experience because it was in COVID years. So usually all the
Oh.
drafts happen in America. You go to like the room where all the first rounders are and their families are, but it was unique because it was COVID. Like no one could do that. So everyone,
Mhm.
like Americans, stayed at their American houses with their family. I got to be in Australia with my family and friends. So to me, that was so special. Like my agent organized a big event at the Star, and just hearing my name in the eighth pick at just 19 years old, it was the youngest in the WNBA, was like really insane to me. But like at the same time, all my hard work had paid off, and it was an insane experience. I got a lot of exposure and coverage, and it really just meant a lot because it did show that young girls, if they do work hard, they can make this. And I think, a lot of Australians have done that in that time now. We've got Georgia, Jade, there's heaps now. So, yeah, that was really special to me.
And I think I spoke about this with Annalie Maley, and we were just speaking about how the WNBA is like crazy cutthroat. It's not like the WNBL here. And I don't think the public actually realize what you go through as an athlete. Again, we've spoken about that highs and lows. But you may have a contract one day, whether that be like a roster spot or a training camp, and then next second you're cut and you're going home and you're like, what even is my life? But your world can just be flipped upside down. And like, you were 19 years old. Like, this is what I think people like need to remember. You were just a baby. Like you're a kid, right? And I remember hearing as well, like you had visa issues, so you couldn't actually get to training camp with your team. And like I can just imagine all the emotions you're going through right now, because I probably at 30 I'd still be going through the same emotions and feelings. But you don't get to be with your team at Chicago at training camp after you've just been drafted. Then 4 games in, they trade you to Dallas, and then you find out. Oh, then you find out at an airport that okay, I'm now going home, and you are a human. And this is what I think a lot of people don't realize, and we see it with all the shade that Angel Reese gets and this and that. And yes, great, basketball has been spoken about, but I just can't even imagine how much of a whirlwind that was for you. Can you like take us through that experience of I was here, I was there, now I'm going home. Oh my God, my dreams feel crushed, and just overcame this tough situation? Because I think it's so important to highlight that we go through lows as athletes. And how did you overcome that? Because there's going to be girls who are going to go through the exact same thing as you, and you might just be able to help them a little bit.
Yeah, so yeah, like you said, I did have visa issues. So I got drafted. It was COVID, so I couldn't get my visa. It took about a month. So I missed the whole of preseason. I missed the first 6 games. And for me, our WNBL season finished in December. At this point, it was May. So I hadn't actually played a basketball game in 4 or 5 months, which for a 19-year-old heading to the States that has missed training camp is not a great situation at all. So I was not prepared. I was doing individuals, but that doesn't correlate to professional basketball or basketball at all. So I head over. I have my first training, and then we had the game the next day. Obviously, it's a bit of a tough situation when you don't know the play, you don't really know people's names, like all of that stuff. So I had to kind of learn on the run pretty fast. Had about it was like 30 plays on piece of papers that I had to try and remember for the game next day.
That's giving
Little,
like quarterback.
yeah, tough to kind of. But like you said, we got 4 games in, and we were on the way to my first away trip. So I was really excited for that. We put our bags under, we get our tickets, and we're waiting to board. And then get told from my coach that I've been traded and they've cut me. So my mindset at that stage was, all right, how am I going to get my bag off the plane? That was my first thought. Uh, and then honestly, I just said, okay, like, thanks for everything. I went down the corner and I just sat at the airport and cried, to be honest. Like, it was really emotional for me. I tried to ring my family. It was 3 a.m. back home, so they weren't awake. And the worst thing about it was I had to do the 2 weeks COVID in a hotel, the protocol. So I had
Mm-hmm.
2 weeks of in. I tried to stay off my phone because there was just so much media and I was getting a lot of hate from Americans. There was hundreds and hundreds of messages coming to me. So, that was a big learning curve for me, just to not care about what people think, honestly, and just have a close circle and only trust what they say. That was where the
Yeah.
whole learning curve kind of started. Um, Honestly, looking back, the whole experience, it was traumatizing, and but looking back, it was a great setback for me in terms of, I was a teenager, I got to have my foot in the door in the WNBA, and I got to learn from a young age what it's like. It's really cutthroat, and yeah, I kind of just went from there. It was looking back, it was a good experience for me.
Well, I want to just thank you for opening up and talking about that, because I know it's not easy. I just think it's so important for people like to hear our stories like this, because there's so much more that happens, behind closed doors. And obviously, I stated before, you've been playing so consistently well overseas, and that led you to getting a training camp contract with the Phoenix Mercury. So it was so great seeing you back in the W, doing your thing. And I guess, how did it now feel getting that call, knowing, okay, you had another opportunity at the W? And I guess, still getting to chase one of your major dreams of, playing in the W.
Yeah, no, it was really exciting, especially because Phoenix has had so many Aussies in the past. It was a great experience for me. It was a much better experience this time, and I really enjoyed it. Even having Sammy there, she was helpful all the way through. She's a vet, so that was really cool. But I took away a lot of positives from that experience. I did well at training camp. I did really well in the practice game, and I really proved to myself that I do belong over there. WNBA is all about timing. So I know I'll be over there at some stage, just a matter of when. But yeah, I had really good feedback that I did do well. And they just wanted bigger guards because they're playing positionless basketball. So it wasn't the right fit. But
Mhm.
I took away from the experience, that it was really positive and I enjoyed it. So upbeat.
And I love that you just mentioned that because I remember seeing that you posted on your Instagram story, thanks to Phoenix. But I know I belong here now is something that you wrote. And I was just like, I love that mentality. And like we said, it's 4 years between you going at 19 to now you going at 23. Like you've matured so much, you've developed so many more on and off court skills. And like, what was your mindset now leaving that training camp, knowing I know I belong here? It's just like not the right time because it is a lot about, like you said, timing and sometimes positions. You might be great and they want
Yeah.
you, but they need a 5-man. You're not going to grow to 7 foot tall overnight. But
Yeah.
has that just given you so much confidence, like, I guess, for the future and making that WNBA roster spot?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's really all about timing. Like, I a lot of rookies at the camp, and I was a 1 year player, but they decided to go a different direction. But for me, it's all about mindset. Like I know I can play over there, and now I'm
Mhm.
just really confident that now that I've done it, especially proving to myself after that Chicago scenario where it wasn't great. But yeah, I at the same time though, the WNBA doesn't really set you up financially. That's something that needs a lot more growth,
Mhm.
and something that really do deserve. You've got Caitlin Clark paving the way, and the league is growing. But at the same time, I make 4 to 5 times more in Europe than I do WNBA. So it's going to come to a point where I have to pick what I really want. Do I want to play in the best league in the world, or do I want to set myself up financially? Like it comes down to priorities as well. So that will be something I got to decide moving forward. And but yeah, it was a great experience. I'm really happy with how it went.
And it is such a big thing because we're not like the men in other sports as well, where we get all these endorsements and sponsorships that once basketball's over, we've still got all this money in the bank. Like it is so different. And I think it is super smart. Again, you're so young that you are thinking about these things because realistically, something can happen and we could never play again, the next day, whether it be injury, whatever it is. So I think that's something that's super smart that people can definitely take something away from. And you spoke about at Phoenix as well that they've had many Aussies go through there. You had Sammy Whitcomb. We saw the likes of Jazz Shelley last year at training camp, who now is going to be one of your teammates at Geelong. Are you really excited to play with her? And what's that friendship like between you guys?
I'm so excited to play with Jazz. We went to the AIS together, so we know each other. We just haven't seen each other in a few years because she was at college. But, I saw her the last few days down in Geelong, and she's such a great chick, and she's an even better player. So I think we're going to really complement each other on court. We both get after it on defense, both can score, can pass the ball, share the ball pretty well. So I think we're going to complement each other really well. And, I'm really excited. Jazz.
Oh, well, Shy, thank you so much for coming on the show today. I wish you the best of luck in your whole basketball journey. I'm sure I'll be seeing your name in lots of different places. But also good luck for Geelong United in this coming WNBL season. And I'm sure all Aussie fans are happy that the Shyla Heal is back home.
Thanks, Colin. No, it's been awesome speaking to you. Thanks for having me.
And for the rest of you team, thank you so much for joining me. But make sure you stay tuned in next week as we catch catch up and talk about more things basketball around the globe. It's a Cole World.